Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Lunch and Learn Supercharge Your SEO Opportunities with ChatGPT in 2025. We think this is a great opportunity for companies to really think through how they're going to optimize search with respect to ChatGPT. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Marie Wiese, and I'm the CEO of Marketing Copilot. I'm a Microsoft MVP in AI. I've been working in the Microsoft channel for 10 years. We have owned the registered trademark Marketing Copilot since 2012. And I'd love to say that we had vision that this is where Microsoft was going, but I'd be lying if I said that. I've written a couple of books, and I think I've been able to create a pretty good bird's eye view on what's happening in the industry. I'm joined today by my good friend, Elle Bush, and they're going to take a minute and introduce themselves. Welcome, Elle.
Hi, thanks for having me on today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Elle. I work as a marketing coordinator and AI solutions developer at Marketing Copilot, which basically just means that I use artificial intelligence and research ways that artificial intelligence can be used to support our marketing strategies. I also work in writing and design at Marketing Copilot. And yeah, I'm always looking for a creative way to optimize various activities that we do here. And I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about the state of SEO. So today's agenda, Marie, if you want to go over it for everybody.
Yeah. So, a lot of people I've spoken to about this topic have said, well, does SEO even matter anymore? If people are moving to tools like ChatGPT to do their research and search, where's the role that SEO is playing? It has a big role, and we're going to get into that. And we've got some really important goodies for you that you're going to want to get and also activate in your business. We'll talk a little bit about some of the changes in ChatGPT, search engines versus AI tools, and what your 2025 SEO and keyword strategy should be. And I'm going to give you a hint. We want you to stay to the end, but here's the hint. If you remember and had ever had access to the Marketing Copilot keyword strategy, and we talked about the most important keywords in your strategy, then what we're going to talk about today should come as no surprise to you. So, why does SEO still matter? Well, we know that Google ads have plummeted. We are business to business marketers, and we work a lot with Microsoft partners and ISVs. And what we're seeing is that ad spends are producing very little results for B2B companies. And to be fair, I think Google was pretty transparent about that during COVID and post COVID when they said that the changes they were making were really going to be for consumer marketing. And so I think the poor B2B marketers got shut out there. So it's no surprise that it's not landing ads. 95% of the Microsoft partners we spoke to in 2024, and we had a chance to chat with a lot of them at over 32 events or webinars that we attended, either gave or attended in 2024. 80% of their new leads were coming from referrals. They weren't adding a lot of new logos based on randomly finding prospects through search. And what we see when we go to do a web presence analysis and a web presence health check on a website is that most keyword strategies aren't going to work. And they're not going to work unless you spend most of your marketing budget on it. And I think a great example is Microsoft. If let's just say the keyword was Microsoft partners who implement Dynamics or implement ERP, you're competing against thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And if only a fraction of your leads are actually coming through search of some way, shape, or form, it's hard to make a case for why you should be spending a whole pile of money on it. When we launched our keyword strategy workbook, and we've since updated it, and this is our first giveaway and our first goodie today in our webinar, where you can snap that QR code and get the keyword strategy workbook. We talked about the types of keywords that should be part of your strategy. And back in I'm going to say probably 2014 when we originally came up with how to build a strategy for B2B companies. We really focused on questions and long tail keywords as being the key for B2B companies. So you've got your branded keywords, ones that have your name in them. You've got your short tail. So for example, we'll use Marketing Copilot as the example. We seem to be popping up a lot these days with that term Marketing Copilot. Obviously, the word Copilot is very popular, but what we're finding, we're still all over search results and showing up on search results because we've been at it for a long, long time, building good content. If you search marketing services, that would be short tail. If you search something that was more long tail, marketing services consulting Toronto. And then questions, should I outsource marketing services? And then also looking at competitors. There's a great product called Built With. You can use it to go track somebody's website, see the tools they're using. But when we were putting strategies together, and I would say that's true to this day, long tails and questions were really the things that we focused on. And guess what? If you've been focusing on that, you're in luck. You're in a good place. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Al, and I'd love you to update our audience about some of the changes we're seeing in ChatGPT and what that means.
Yeah, so ChatGPT has obviously taken not only our sector, but the world by storm since its release a couple years ago. But they have made some pretty significant updates in recent months that are kind of radically changing not only the way we use ChatGPT, but the way that search is occurring. So the first is their open search feature. So they now have a search engine feature available to all their registered users. It kind of operates like an extension to your browser. They have source linking now. So, in our responsible AI framework, we've talked a lot about intellectual property and being able to, give credit where credit is due. So one of the recent changes to ChatGPT is anytime that it uses a specific source in its output, it will directly link that so you can go to the original source, which is also related to its improved web scraping. So it's been more selective, it's been updated to scrape data differently, and it has been prioritizing authoritative content and update websites that are frequently updated. And finally, and this one's going to come in handy later on when we talk more about those long tail keywords, is there's been an increased emphasis on context. So large language models have made pretty significant advancements in natural language understanding to help contextualize search intent. So it's not just reading your search for, what is the exact answer to your question, but what was your intention in asking that question so that it can provide more nuanced outputs. So why does this matter for us? It means that there's
I was just about to ask that. Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? It means there's increased potential, obviously, from website referral. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about this, Marie.
Well, I mean, I think the most important thing to take away from these changes and from this slide is that it's now going out to scrape the web. Hey, and guess what? It's going to scrape information based on how well your website's been performing for content specific to questions being prompted and asked in ChatGPT. So I think that's pretty significant. And again, I would love to say that my Marketing Copilot had a crystal ball back in 2014. We did not. But we did know that for business to business companies, businesses selling to other businesses, questions were always the most important thing we wanted to see in blog posts. Questions that were being asked in the sales cycle. Top 10 questions in the sales process always made the best blog posts. And guess what? Those are likely the ones being put into a prompt in ChatGPT. So this is why this matters.
And it means that, our current search habits are obviously changing a little bit. So it's important to know the difference between when someone is using AI for search and, a typical search. So in a survey of AI users, we, based on the Search Engine Journal from 2024, 57% use AI daily, 49% see AI and traditional search is essentially interchangeable, and 67% think AI could replace traditional search engines within 3 years, which leads us to the current reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we know that there's some things that are very, very important that we need to pay attention to. So, I think you've talked about these stats. Cool. What's the impact that it's going to have on people tomorrow? And I think this is one of the most important slides today. Take a minute and explain this to our audience.
Yeah. So essentially, of course, we know that ChatGPT has been growing, but its market share of referral traffic is only expected to reach and potentially exceed 1%. And Google and Microsoft account for much more of that, which means that even though we are seeing this unprecedented growth for ChatGPT, traditional search engines are not going away, and SEO is certainly not dead in 2025. So there's definitely ways that we can optimize given this new sort of reality and the way things are changing, which, leads us back to the thing we always talk about, which is your audience.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's a great segue. Al, think about your audience. Who are they? Are they technology professionals? Are they regular users of AI, or are they working in industries with less AI adoption? And, it's hard for us to gauge because things are transitioning and changing so quickly in the marketplace that we don't necessarily know who's doing what, right? And I would even argue that maybe it's not getting tracked the way we were used to it being tracked traditionally, and therefore maybe we're not comparing apples to apples when we're looking at adoption rate and how things are going. What we know at Marketing Copilot today, because we've been helping Microsoft partners and ISVs deliver Copilot briefings to the world, is that whether you like it or not, people in your organization are using AI. And I don't even think we've seen, demographics bubble to the top on this. It could be anyone in your organization using AI. And so I think it's really important to consider it. But then back to that point, it's really important right now to consider who your audience is and what they're doing. To that point, your ideal buyer should always, 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 always inform your content strategy. How they buy, what they need to know about, where they're going to look for information. It needs to be baked into everything you're doing from a marketing perspective. And this includes your approach to SEO and to keywords. All right. Now, this is your area of expertise, Al, and I know that you're outstanding at doing it for our clients. Let's talk about optimizing in AI. So,
Yeah.
what's the difference? What should we care about here?
Yeah, so the first thing is that there's going to be a difference in the way that your prospects are asking various tools questions. So for a typical Google search or just any sort of browser search, we know that we type in like short, fragmented phrases and queries. So for example, I want to know the best restaurants in New York. I'm going to type into my browser best restaurants in NYC. However, those of us prompting ChatGPT or another large language model are going to use more detailed and conversational questions. So, can you recommend me the best fine dining restaurants in New York with a view of Central Park? Because large language models can process larger deposits of information, typically these prompts are going to be more detailed. They're going to want more specific answers. So now you have to pay attention to not only what people are typing in, what your prospects are typing into Google, but also what questions might they be typing into ChatGPT, which means that we need to go back to long tail keywords
That's
because,
right. That's right.
yeah.
And also I think that's why it's going to be a big win for people who've been doing a good job with questions on their website. Would you agree?
Mhm. Yeah, I think frequently asked questions, sections, and pages are some of the most important pages you can have on your site right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as Elle was pointing out, this return to long tail keywords, things that are highly specific multi-word phrases, we're taking time to actually type out a question. I'm struggling with automating parts of my database in Microsoft Dynamics. How do I fix this, and who can help me fix this? you're going to be shocked at the results you get and the answers you get to that question in ChatGPT. I did a deep dive this week on customer journeys, which is part of Dynamics 365 customer insights, and in the journeys part, because I really wanted to understand what could that tool do versus other marketing automation tools. And I couldn't believe the detail I got back. It was just instantaneous. And, in the past, I would have had to go into the Microsoft library and I would have had to dig around. I probably wouldn't have found the stuff I was looking for. And I think that it would have taken me a long time and it wouldn't have helped me understand. And then the other thing I love about asking these questions in ChatGPT is it said, would you also like to know? And it asked me if I want to go deeper. It's prompting me to prompt. That's pretty cool. You're not getting that in a traditional Google search, right? So, I think the whole idea of these long tail keywords and really thinking through the content on your website is really going to be crucial because let's face it, you don't want a whole pile of random people that you don't know who may or may not be interested in what you're doing on your website. You don't want them there. You want people who are highly targeted, highly focused, highly specific. Wouldn't we all rather have 3 really good leads that we're chasing because their problem is exactly what we do versus a bunch of random people who hit the website and we don't know what they're doing? So I think this is another reason why we really need to rethink this. So long tail keywords in an AI SEO environment, what are they doing for a company? Break it down here for us, Elle.
Yeah, so they're reducing competition with generic keywords. So, like Marie mentioned at the very beginning, if you're trying to rank for something that, everyone and their mom is searching for, it's going to be really hard to stick out, which is why long tail keywords can help give you that edge by answering these specific questions and connecting you with your ideal buyers. Which leads us to the second point. It increases relevance for users seeking out detailed information or solutions. So kind of the entire point of long tail keywords in AI SEO environments is to target your niche, is to speak to that audience. And it also will enhance your content visibility in both traditional search engines and AI prompts. And seems my team's just reacted for me, but one of the things I wanted to mention about that, about search, is a lot of people are also using voice assistants to search these days.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
questions have become really important because when you're asking Siri or Alexa something, chances are you're just going to talk to that voice assistant. So that's another really important sort of facet of search right now is people are looking for more conversational ways to get answers to their questions. So your
A-
content needs to reflect that.
absolutely. Absolutely. And you just raised a really good point. And I want to make mention of this. You know, we don't really know where these large language models are getting some of their data from. And they're probably capturing a lot of data that we didn't know was being captured. To your point, when we asked Siri a question, or we were even in our phone dictating a text message to someone. How many times have we all been victims of saying something and the next day getting served ads on that product or service that we mentioned? So, I mean, this is something we all need to think about. It's another reason why Marketing Copilot is so firmly committed to responsible AI, because we don't know where this data came from. I happened to hear kind of a sad story last week where uh, ChatGPT was able to get information that was supposedly gated and behind a firewall. So somebody was selling a document for $49 and using ChatGPT, where I was able to find the same information and circumvent uh, anything with respect to downloading or purchasing the product. And that's an eye opener for all of us, right? It's a real eye opener around some of these things. So, what's a girl to do? How are we going to really optimize this in 2025? Well, first and foremost, get those buyer personas right. Understanding your ideal buyer, what they care about, what they might be asking about, which could definitely come from one of your best customers, and what they went through your sales process. You can model that to figure out how to get more of those customers, get those buyer personas nailed. Start broad. There's some interesting tools like SEMrush, which are going to help you identify general keywords. That's a tool we use. There's lots of tools out there for keyword strategy. We've completely moved away from using Google Analytics because, as we know, Google's been protecting keyword information for a long time. And again, unless you're a huge consumer brand with deep pockets, you couldn't really leverage that. But there's other places you can leverage tools. And then ask ChatGPT. I know this sounds weird, but go ask it. And
Yeah.
what do you do in some of these occasions? Elle, what are some of the things you're doing here?
I mean, I think one of the things is, though it may seem a little too obvious, the obvious route would be also to leverage AI tools to help develop your keyword strategy right now, right? Ask ChatGPT, what are users searching for related to these keywords, but specifically, what are users prompting for related to these keywords? Using Google's suggested searches and related questions is also a really interesting way to go about that, because you can see what users like asking one question are similarly asking other questions related to. And this can also help you develop your frequently asked questions section of your website or a page. And then you can go and look at, question answer forums like Reddit or Quora, or see what do people need information on as it pertains to your area of expertise. And then you can develop your own long tail keywords or questions based on those sort of outputs that you receive. So this kind of brings us to a wrap up on how to create a long tail keyword content strategy. I think what we've mentioned is it's important to build out your niche and build your authority around a niche. It's important to incorporate a conversational tone these days. AI prompts usually have that tone. Mimic it in your content. Talk to people like people. And clustered content. I don't know, Marie, if you want to talk a little bit about clustered content.
Well, I think a lot of people started to really hone in on this idea of pillar pages and how we would build content specific to something almost within a microsite within your site. And, let's face it, these activities are time consuming. They can take up a lot of time and energy. But when you start to do some of this cluster content around specific topics that people might be searching, you start to really get some good traction when people are out there. And I think that this is a really good use of time and money from a content marketing perspective. Would you agree, Elle?
Absolutely. And I think, here at Marketing Copilot, we have no intention of leaving anyone high and dry. So we've also developed resources to help you get started on some of this stuff. So we have our good old buyer persona workbook. I don't know, Marie, if you have anything to say about this oldie but a goodie.
Oh, listen, I can't say enough good things about this. I've had so many people use this workbook and say, gosh, did I ever save myself a lot of time and money by doing this exercise? Because I was heading down the wrong road with what I wanted to produce. And you've heard me tell this story before and make jokes about analyzing people's blogs a few years back, and I would see all these posts about the company picnic and the potluck in the office, and it's like nobody's searching for that. It's great that you posted that. You might have shown what your company culture was like. You might have been looking to hire people who cared about that company culture, but at the end of the day, if you haven't used the buyer persona workbook and documented this for your business, it will be really useful for you. So snap that QR code, get the buyer persona workbook, and start to document the things that people care about, which is going to lead to your long tail keyword strategy, which is going to lead to your content, which is going to lead to better optimization and search results for your business. We also have the Marketing Copilot Guide to Responsible AI, what we believe to be the 4 pillars of responsible AI. And of course, intellectual property and brand ethics are 2 of the cornerstones that we believe very strongly in. So we really recommend that you take a look at that and figure out how you want to implement that in your organization. We've worked with lots of companies in the channel, lots of Microsoft partners and ISVs, people who are doing some very, very cool things. We're very proud of the company we keep. And what we're really proud of is that we are always collaborating and working with our customers to learn new things and really charge a path forward. So even if you're in marketing in a organization within the Microsoft ecosystem or within a tech company, and you think, oh, I don't know if I need outside resources, I always encourage people that an outside set of eyes when somebody's working across multiple companies and across the industry is always very useful, regardless of who you are and what you do. So, if you really are a technology partner and you want to improve your marketing results, please snap that code and you can book a call with me. I'm always happy to chat with people and have a conversation around what they're doing today, how they might be able to improve their results. Whether or not you work with us or not, it doesn't really matter. We share lots of good content around how to improve your marketing results, and I love it when people reach out and have conversations. So, what are your closing thoughts? And please follow up with any questions you have to Elle or myself. There's our email addresses. Closing comments, Elle. What are the top 3 things you would do right now if you were a company in the tech? What 3 things would you jump all over if you had to?
I would start by developing frequently asked questions sections or pages on my site, specifically targeting those things that my prospects are searching for. I would play around with AI tools, see how they work, see how the outputs are given to you. The more you understand what your prospects are doing to get the results they want, the better you're going to be at marketing towards those results. And finally, I would say just because, we're entering and have already entered sort of a new era of search doesn't mean we have to set everything we used to do on fire. People still use Google. It's not dead. Google searches aren't dead. Regular, your good old-fashioned search engines, they haven't gone anywhere. They're not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So don't radically change your keyword strategy because you think the only way to get seen is through an AI prompt or output. So those would be my 3 things. I don't know, Marie, if you have 3 things that you want to.
Well, I mean, you know what the first one's going to be, and it might sound self-serving, is get yourself a marketing copilot. Get yourself somebody, whether it's us or somebody else, get yourself somebody who can help you navigate this and figure out what the content should look like. Obviously, that's the first thing. If you haven't documented your buyer personas, that's the second thing. And if you don't have a strong and compelling value proposition in this day and age, you're going to get lost no matter what you do. And I think that would be the third thing I would say to people. And, I think one of the things that we always, 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 always talk about at Marketing Copilot is the importance of testing and the importance of getting some things out there that you can test, measure the results, because you're going to have to pivot. There's never been a crazier time than I see right now in the business world of needing to be able to adjust quickly and continue to test how you're going to move the needle if the needle isn't moving. So those are the things. There's no such thing as a marketing expert, only experienced testers. And we do play that role at Marketing Copilot, but get yourself an experienced tester and be open to failing because you're going to fail. Things are going to work, they're not going to work. But, the faster you move off the things that don't work and get on to the things that do work, the better you'll be in this area. So thanks to everyone for joining us today. Please feel free to reach out and send us an email if you want to talk to us a little bit more on this. We also have a great offer right now at Marketing Copilot, which you can take advantage of, called the 10, 10, and 10. And it's being able to get the top 10 questions in the sales process written up as blog posts in 10 days for, wait for it, not $10,000, but $5,000. And we're willing to give you a ton of content and give you direction on how to optimize that. So Be sure to look out for the 10-10-10 package. And as always, thank you to everyone for joining us today.